NDC lawyer a friend no Edudzie Tamakloe abusuya waba aba drop hot fire on NPP minority a say so sourcing contracts on also at the document be aba say NPP 300 million dollars contract abusuya sa contract na omodema in dollars no according to lawyer or tra NPP for emma sa contract in dollars Tamakloe $300 million no NPP for edema contract no in dollars and NPP for no is about time or say omobeka omano atum cause bonia omobabedin or mine no still na fresh in Ghanaians mind abusuya entino according to lawyer Edudzie Tamakloe no NPP for agenda omo create on so sourcing big push agenda or much as a big push contract no so sourcing no and no creda and or mention the likes of Gabby mudi a contract be a remember amene waba about disgrace NPP live on television or say Tamakloe unko sa contract no NPP award our contract no $300 million Tamakloe ne kran so omwanwie abusuya momeyanko na yankonkuti NDC lawyer nensema Auditor unsubscribe subscribe na hit on the notification bell so na any updates be drop no onso onsa ebitumi aka aha gossip politics TV so medamase.
We say this this whole conversation completely is animated by the work done by the Fourth Estate. In fact, I'll be the last person to, as it were, discredit the work that the Fourth Estate has done. It is not in doubt, through the work of the Fourth Estate, we have realized the over 2 billion Ghana cedi expose with the National Service thing. And so clearly, the work of the Fourth Estate had really helped our current democracy, and I respect them for the work they do. What is also not in doubt, and like I've always maintained, that knowledge is not in the head of one person. And so any attempt to claim that whatever you say is sacrosanct, final, should not be permitted, particularly in our democratic space. If you look at the expose in the first place, the initial teaser was that I hope this is not going to be the first scandal or something.
Yeah.
Then subsequently, it moved into the fact that the Ministry of Roads and Highways had been turned into a resource source factory. First of all, what exactly are the facts on the ground? From the time Minister Addo took over as the roads minister, over 930 road contracts have been awarded. 930. Of the 930 roads contracts awarded so far, trunk road maintenance constitute 405, and they were awarded competitively. In fact, the invitation to award those contracts competitively, the evidence is the Daily Graphic publication, Monday, July 7, 2025. Invitation for tenders. It can easily be checked. Monday, July 7, 2025. Again, Thursday, June 19, 2025, Ghanaian Times, National Competitive Tendering. Further evidence of this competitive process. It's also important to make the point that if you look at the number of trunk roads, highways, feeder roads that have been awarded, all amounting to 930, the suggestion that 88 of them awarded sole source amounted to having the majority sole source, will be clearly problematic. Because if 88 projects out of 903 are awarded through sole sourcing, the suggestion that the ministry had become a sole source factory, with the greatest of respect, I will struggle to appreciate that claim. Even of the 88 that they claim that they were awarded through sole sourcing, 23 of them were inherited and novated. So again, the 83, which is under the big push, cannot, with the greatest of respect, constitute a factory to manufacture sole source contracts. What is also not in doubt is that 47 of these contracts were awarded through restrictive tendering. So exactly what exactly is the narrative? If in the course of this public discussion, additional information have come and it requires that the goalposts be shifted, nothing stops the people who initiated the conversation and say, look, with the benefit of time, this is what we are coming out with, to enrich the public discussion. First of all, I sat here quietly and tried to listen to specifics. Dodi Pepesu has been awarded. First of all, Dodi Pepesu, the rehabilitation is no sole source. It's restrictive tendering. And since I've shared the contract documentation with you.
Yes, you have just done that. I've seen it.
And in the contract documentation, it was no sole source. It was restrictive tendering. 2, I have never been involved in road constructs. And so I do not claim it.
But we have to be clear. We have to be clear that the Fourth Estate was clear in saying a number of the contracts that were not subjected to competitive tendering and others that were subjected to restrictive tendering. It didn't say the purpose is sole source.
The point I'm making is that the narrative by the expose was a sole source factor. Please. I have every right to undermine that conversation, a narrative. And I'm saying that it cannot be correct that if out of 930 projects, 88 of them were awarded, assuming even through sole sourcing, that makes the ministry a sole source factory.
So how do you blame the reporter who says, give me all contracts
on this platform?
Give me all contracts on Big Push. And then you supply them 100 and is it 15 or
115.
115.
8 were out and it came to 107.
Correct. And then they do an assessment of what you give them. So now if you are giving them more than that number, why do you blame them?
It's the ministry that was framed. Okay. And I've always put the information out.
So the ministry did wrong?
I'm not saying
whoever is there providing the
what I'm telling you on this platform is that 903 projects have been awarded involving feeder road, trunk road maintenance, highways, among others. Oh, specifically under Big Push, I've given you the 88.
Thank you.
And 23 of them were...
So let's limit what they are doing. They are doing contracts under Big Push. And they asked for documents under contracts under Big Push. And they were giving the 115. And you discount the 8 that were not for the regime. And then they found that 81% or 81 of those.
Yes, 76%, which is 81.
I am saying on this platform that contrary to the assertion that the Ministry of Roads has been turned into a sole source factory.
Okay.
The record shows that of the 930 projects awarded, only 88 of them comes under the Big Push. And of the 88, 23 were projects inherited and novated. That's a fact, remains unchallenged. 2, Dodi Pepesu was not sole source, it's restrictive tendering. One of the things I do not want to claim expertise in road construction is the question of road construction and what goes into it. And I'm not sure that any of us here this morning has that expertise. Like we lawyers see, certain words used constitute what industry practitioners may call terms of art. And so once you say rehabilitation and you come and put out there in public, rehabilitation means an existing road that you are just going to either do patches or something. For the road persons with expertise in it, they will tell you that rehabilitation goes through and beyond that. What is important for any critical mind is what is the scope of work to be undertaken. It is only when the scope of work is put out there that you can have a proper challenge. But you see, I am not surprised this morning listening to my brother Kofi Tonto. It is something that the NPP would definitely do. Because one of the major campaign promises of President John Dramani Mahama, after we were told that over 10,000 roads were constructed from 2017 to 2024, that is from here to Nebraska in the United States of America, of roads were constructed within 8 years. On the campaign platform, and thankfully I was part of the campaign, we realized that contrary to this claim, major roads in this country remain immotorable or motorable. Senior, if you go to even Upper East, that a terrain you are quite familiar with, right from Bolga, Nabdan, Zebla, you do Binduri, right to Boku, from Boku right to Kulungugu, into Pusiga to Tempane, back to Garu.
Yeah, you know the landscape.
Yes. Look at the roads there. And I've always asked, those communities, were they part of the 10,000 roads from here to Nebraska that the Akufo-Addo administration claimed they have constructed? It beggars. So a government having undertaken a tour of the country comes and says, look, this is going to be my campaign. I am going to get these roads fixed. In the absence of an alternative cost theory, it becomes extremely difficult to insinuate inflated projects. Why I'm making this point? If you recall, in the first term of President Mahama, when the decision was made to construct the Kaswa interchange, to construct the Ridge Hospital, candidate Akufo-Addo then went public to say that those projects have their cost inflated. I remember specifically the Kaswa interchange. It took the then ranking on the Roads and Highways Committee, Honorable Edudzie, who incidentally happened to be a former regional highways boss in the Eastern region, to come out to say that from the numbers that the committee were presented with, there couldn't have been any issue of inflated road projects. I recall vividly how Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo tried to discredit the Ridge Hospital project, only for the Crown agent to provide a value for money undertaking that was done for the Ridge Hospital project. The Circle Interchange project, that was the same narrative. So I am not surprised that the NPP has tried to jump into this conversation by the Fourth Estate to create a sanctimonious, image. Your record is still fresh in the minds of our people. First of all, who awarded the motorway roads, the motorway project? It was the NPP. It was awarded in dollars, $300 million. That was the right. So if you sit here and simply say that for every kilometer, this is how much it should be, then people begin to ask questions. Yeah.
Okay. Edudzie, in the same Exchange Act, a contract between the country and a contractor who is a foreign company is not in local currency. And you know that. So the contract for the motorway is between who and who?
Who is the contractor? Maripoma. It's a local contractor, Maripoma.
So, I mean, give him that information. Give him that information.
Tamamoto is Maripoma.
No, share that information with him. It's a local company.
Yes. Oh, so share that information.
Because when I'm driving around, I see Chinese people.
Oh, I'm
share
sure
that information with him.
I see Chinese people.
I think he needs that information.
Okay, good. So next point I want to make. Another clarity I want to give to you is there's an element of dilatory conduct under the provision for which it was.
Yes, which you mentioned the last time. Yes. So you can use that to agenda.
The argument he's making now is to use dilatory conduct to agenda the agency. And that's what I want to clarify.
Shall I proceed?
There's a pastor who sent me a tall message. He called, he managed to, have access to my contact, and then sent me a recording. He was very unhappy with you guys last week for suggesting that these situations are not emergency situations for which the roads there should be a resort to sole source. As far as he's concerned, the road in his area is very bad, terrible, and for a contractor to be handpicked to do it, all he's interested in that the road is getting fixed. So if you say it's not urgent, he's not happy about it.
Then we should justify why an armed robber takes a gun and goes to steal.
This morning, my brother Kofi Tonto said, this project, Kofi, the road from Savlugu to Walewale, how was it awarded?
Why has that got? Why are you asking?
The reason why I've asked you that question is simple. That road was awarded for $29 million plus. The contractor has even taken the money away. We have to, do investigation to look for him. That's your record. This morning you come and sit on this platform and create an impression of patriotism. You, NPP, please, we have a specific mandate by the people of this country.
Your suggestion is that if some wrong was done previously and there's wrongdoing going on, nobody should talk about it because
on this platform that wrong was done. I
have not admitted anything.
Exactly. So
you go ahead and make your point.
Senior, the man is not even admitting that something wrong happened.
And I've not been pious on this platform. I just stated the facts.
I'm not aware.
So
but first of all, let me proceed.
Don't try to.
Let's be specific here. In March 2024, the upgrading of Apedu Donyina Bridge Point over River Alda was a contract that was awarded by your government. March 2024, at least you were in government. It was for 86 million Ghana cedis. Effectively meaning that we were doing 27 million Ghana cedi per kilometer. I cannot sit here at the spell of the moment and say it was wrong because I do not have the scope of work. 86 million Ghana cedis for 3-kilometer projects. 27 million per kilometer. You awarded it. In fact, I've seen documents which suggest that even the last roads minister, the Honorable Asenso, projects that were awarded in his constituency, and the project cost specific. And so, if the conversation is that we have sole source, and I've always maintained that sole source in and of itself is never wrong. It is how we have done our politics over the period. That is what has shaped the sole source conversation. In fact, I remember on Newsfile, I think you moderated that session. I think Gabby Asorichidako, he was there. In criticizing the Mahama first administration, said and likened sole source to stealing. You remember? So I recall when the NPP came to power, and in Addo's first inaugural speech, you remember when he made the point that I shall insist on value for money in order to protect the public purse. We said, look, it's fair politics to hold his feet to the fire of accountability. What happened over the period? The Auditor General, appointed by President Addo Akufo-Addo, decided to do a special audit on cocoa roads. In that special audit undertaken by the Auditor General appointed by President Addo Akufo-Addo, he came out and said, of the cocoa roads that were awarded, 85% were awarded through non-competitive process. Those were his report. At that time, we were invited to interrogate the Auditor General's report because that is an audit report. As we speak, I have not seen any audit report that specifically raises the issue. And in fact, in the audit report...
Please, you should be rounding up.
Yes. In the audit report that was produced for the cocoa rows. That was when my brother Sami Jemfi raised the question that if the Auditor General is saying that cocoa rows that were awarded, 85% were done through non-competitive process. And in the executive summary by the Auditor General, he now makes the point that because those projects were awarded through non-competitive processes, they were more expensive. That was the conversation. And that is what my brother Sami Jemfi and others spoke on.
They spoke about so being a conduit for corruption.
No, but because in the Auditor General's report, the Auditor General made it abundantly clear that those sole sourcing projects made it more expensive. Then we said, look, in the past, the narrative that was sold was that sole source amount to stealing. And on this platform, it was stated unchallenged. And so we then said that if that is the case, by parity of reasoning, is it fair to say that? And so if today, through the work of Fourth Estate, and I'll just comment on what the president said so we can.
Briefly.
The president could have been dismissive, like we have seen in the past, in saying that, well, my ministry has awarded a project, it matters not if there is any public concern or conversation. He said, in the circumstance, I take the work you have done seriously. I want to elicit response to the agency responsible, that is the Ministry of Roads. Thereafter, we can interrogate between the two who is alleging wrongdoing, who has done what is right or otherwise. In the absence of that, with respect, what would be the basis to insinuate that what the president has said matters not?
What do you know? Will it be done with best practice? And we can take that best practice from Akufo-Addo. Will it be given to an independent assessor?
When you say it should be given to an independent assessor, I don't get your point.
So like we talked about SML matter that came.
How do you not get this simple?
Akufo-Addo appointed an independent assessor, KPMG.
Something, he gets it. He gets it. He's deliberate.
Rather than say, bring it to the presidency and I'll get maybe my chief of staff or somebody around to look at it and give a verdict.
Thankfully, the president has not shown any expertise in roads and contracting. So definitely the president will need persons with that skill set to do it.
Okay.
So we are preempting him.
But you see, my point is that at this point, you are a procurement expert, correct?
Yes.
But you have shown us your view on this matter. So your expertise will no longer be needed because you have prejudged the conversation.
All right.
That's the point I'm
making. Thank you. Yes.
You understand? Because your view, I was expecting that you having that expertise would have given everybody the benefit of the doubt. But you have concluded on all the matters.
Okay. Let's now go to Dr. John
Thank
you.
For your expertise
Thank you very much.
But
I haven't said I want my expertise to be used. I'm saying that on the basis of the evidence on hand. On the evidence on hand, you have violated so many laws. Not one, not the Procurement Act. There's the Public Financial Management Act. There's the Pensions Act. There is the Contracts Act. You violated so many laws. But how come a legislator?
Thank you.
Our political highway. So NDC lawyer and I just say attending car so sourcing contracts no oba ebabe rubbish NPP agenda on any scandal around so sourcing contract on a big push. But I must say some of the penny cocoa and some way at my gossip politics TV. So but I must say